Hey guys, what's up? It's CS back here with another installment. Here are my picks for UFC 165, Jones versus Gustafsson. Alrighty folks, well I really can't wait for this card. It's going to be sick. Come next Saturday in Toronto. You guys are in for a treat. Two title matchups? Come on. Renan versus Eddie Wineland for Barão's interim bantamweight championship. And of course the light heavyweight championship on the line between the champion and Jon Jones and Alexander Gustafsson. Wow, can't say how much I'm looking forward to either matchup, but the rest of the card looks pretty good, including the preliminary card. Definitely looking forward to that Myles jury Mike Ricci matchup, most definitely out of the fights on that card. But if you guys want my predictions for the rest of that card, I'll leave them all in the description below. So do check that out, but we're going to start off with the main card like usual. At the top, Jon Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson for the light heavyweight championship. And to be honest, I think Jon Jones will win this via finish or at least a decision somehow. Alexander Gustafsson, he's a very talented fighter, pretty lanky dude. He's 6'5", and he should be able to get within Jon Jones' reach at times if Jon Jones especially is complacent enough. You know, maybe Alexander is going to be able to slip in some straight punches or jabs of some sort. However, I think Jon Jones is going to do a good job of keeping the distance as usual. You know, he still has the 84.5-inch reach, and I think he's going to use that to perfection against Alexander Gustafsson. I think he's going to be able to play keep away for the most part, move laterally, and just pop a jab in Gustafsson's face. Gustafsson, who knows if his head movement is going to be on point. He was getting hit a lot by Mauricio Shogun Rua, and at this point I think Jon Jones is actually underrated as far as overall kickboxing skills, and I think that he's going to be able to pinpoint, accurately land some stuff on Alexander Gustafsson. I think he's going to land the side kicks to the knees, all of that. I think he's going to do that tenfold. Gustafsson's going to have to rush him with some combinations as far as mixing it up with different types of punches, straight punches, maybe throwing an elbow or some sort of hook, and maybe trying to get a hold of Jon Jones in a plum of some sort to negate Jon Jones from using that clinch. However, Jon Jones really hasn't shocked me as far as how he's able to cope with different scenarios of, you know, him possibly being hurt or in trouble. You know, if he does get caught in a plum, I think he's going to know how to properly defend that. I think if he winds up on his back somehow, I think he's going to be able to properly defend. But I still think, for the most part, he's going to be dictating the pace of the fight on the feet with just outpointing Alexander by just being a better rangier fighter. Pretty much it, but eventually I think he is going to be able to bring this thing to the ground somehow, out-clinch Gustafsson by the cage, and maybe look for a trip takedown or drop for a double leg takedown once he gets Gustafsson on his back. I haven't seen much of Gustafsson's scrambling skills, but I would have to imagine that Jon Jones' top control and his ground and pounds could be way too much for Gustafsson to handle. Maybe Gustafsson's able to scramble up to his feet once, maybe twice, but that's tops. You know, second or third takedown attempt for sure. Jones is going to be able to just blitz him on the mat with that long-ass ground and pound. Eventually, I think he's going to TKO Alexander Gustafsson. I'm going to say that happens in early third, late second round, so that's my pick. Jon Jones via ground and pound, TKO, strikes, game over. Shoutouts to the Mauler, though. Alexander Gustafsson might be the second best fighter in the world at 205. He did beat Shogun. He probably beats Rashad. He probably beats Phil Davis in a rematch, I think, and he probably beats Machida. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say. Maybe Glover, if Glover gets a shot at a top 5 opponent, maybe he's the second best light heavyweight. I would imagine he's going to be the next guy to face Jones, and that's of course me assuming that Jones is going to beat Gustafsson. But again, we will see. Moving on, bantamweight championship, or interim bantamweight championship, between the champ in Renan Barão and Eddie Wineland, the challenger. Very good fight here, guys. Eddie Wineland is a scrappy veteran, you know, as far as his kickboxing. Pretty on point, decent kicks, but as far as his hands, holy crap, the guy hits hard. One of the hardest hitters in bantamweight, if you ask me. Nice crisp punches, pretty technical stuff, and if Renan Barão is complacent, you know, he's, with his head movement, of course, he's going to get laid out, and maybe knocked out, who knows, maybe TKO'd, but Barão has sick scrambling skills. You know, I'm sure he has been put under duress as far as, you know, the past 30 fights, because of course he's been undefeated in those. I don't think all of them have been, you know, straight up domination of his opponent. I would think that he'd know how to scramble out of those situations of maybe getting knocked out with training with guys like Jose Aldo, Diego Nunez, all the guys at Novo União. These guys trained for different situations, and I think Barão has the gas tank to be able to cope with getting hit late even and being able to scramble or get offensive from his back. He has slick transitions. He could, possibly hit the switch, get on top of you and wrap you up for a rear naked or try to TKO you of some sort. I have a lot of faith in Renan Barão's technical ability and his athletic ability as well. I think against Wineland, Wineland's not like a slow fighter or anything, but I think Renan Barão's explosiveness and his athleticism is going to allow him to use his own technical kickboxing to outpoint Eddie Wineland on the feet. I think that he's going to be looking at really athletic with the jabs and just being able to move in and out of the pocket, landing leg kicks here and there. And if it somehow hits the ground, of course, I think I have to give the edge to Renan Barão, although Eddie Wineland's not exactly a slouch grappler. In the end, out of 5 rounds, I got Renan Barão winning this, maybe by a late finish, but I'm leaning towards the decision. Eddie Wineland is a tough guy. I just think he gets out-athleted over the course of 5 rounds, especially when it gets later. Eddie Wineland hasn't fought a 5-round fight in a while, and I would imagine that Renan Barão has the edge there. So I'm going to go with Renan Barão to be the better striker over the course of 5 rounds, but don't sleep on Eddie Wineland because he could finish this fight with his own power. Anyway, moving on, we have a heavyweight matchup to talk about. It's between Brendan Schaub and Matt Mitrione. Pretty interesting fight. Both of these guys are from the same season of The Ultimate Fighter. Brendan Schaub, what does he bring to the table? Of course, he's a true athlete, former NFLer, so is Matt Mitrione. But Brendan Schaub, I think, has a little bit more explosiveness in his punches. I think he can knock people down easier, and perhaps put them out. Besides his dynamite hands, really not much that impresses me. He has decent takedowns. He can gas if he chooses to use a wrestling route towards the later end of the fight still. But you know what, against Matt Mitrione, if Matt Mitrione didn't learn anything from Schaub's last fight against a more dangerous striker than LeVar Johnson, then Matt Mitrione's going to lose. Because, real talk, I think Brendan Schaub's going to come in here and try to out-wrestle Matt Mitrione. Because if he tries to strike with Matt Mitrione's a little bit more technical. He trains out of Rufus Sport. He has good use of feints and movement. He knows how to set up punches and move laterally well. And I think he's going to be able to put hands on Brendan Schaub if Brendan Schaub does not take him down in time before he gets possibly KO'd. Because, real talk, Brendan Schaub could showcase that glass chin again. But I think he's going to do anything in his power to not. I'm going to say Brendan Schaub goes for cage and clinch attempts and goes to possibly take him down, Matt Mitrione, from there. If not, go for a power double leg, especially if he somehow has enough energy towards later end of the fight and he knows that Mitrione is somehow gassing. That being said, I got to go with Brendan Schaub to win. I'm not completely sold on Matt Mitrione's takedown defense, and I'm not completely sure if he's going to be able to knock out Brendan Schaub early. And based on what I saw from Schaub against LeVar Johnson, I'm going to say he's going to do enough as far as cage and clinch and takedown attempts to win this fight. So I got Brendan Schaub, 29-28, unanimous decision in what could have been a good fight. Or a good finish by either fighter, who knows. But let's move on to this middleweight bout between Costa, Philippou, and Francis Carmont. Francis Carmont, he's like this ripped 6'3", 185 guy who can take you down, ground and pound you. His striking kind of coming along, I don't know, but if it stays standing, got to give the advantage to Costa Philippou. Costa Philippou, ripped in his own right, and he has pretty good hands. He has a good base as far as keeping himself on the feet, and he's going to try to sprawl and brawl. That's pretty much it. I think it's going to be a story of Francis Carmont trying to take Philippou down, and Philippou trying to dodge takedowns and just wait for an opportunity to land with some sort of combination or some sort of straight punch or a hook. I think that Philippou is going to be successful with that. I think that Francis Carmont is going to do a decent job of trying to set up his takedowns as far as maybe throwing jab and then going deep in for a double leg. I think Costa is going to do a good job of using a wide base and being able to defend that takedown. But if he's not going to be able to finish Francis Carmont right after that, you best believe that Carmont will eventually get takedowns after that and throughout the rest of the fight. So I think Costa needs to perhaps finish this early. If not, just have lights out takedown defense and perhaps sprawl and brawl to a unanimous decision victory. I'm going to say he does finish Francis Carmont. Carmont's chin really hasn't been tested, in my opinion. Costa Philippou with his takedown defense and his striking, I think, is the guy to be able to do that. So I'm going to say Costa Philippou actually knocks out Francis Carmont sometime in the second round, as long as he's on his 2 feet. Is Costa Philippou, I think he wins this fight. So Costa Philippou, better boxer, knockout power for the win, second round. And last but not least, we got a lightweight match between Pat Healy and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Alright guys, Khabib, sick fighter. The guy is able to cage a clinch against anyone and eventually go for sambo throws. If not, he's able to double leg you. He has 6 submissions. Just have to watch out for this cat. Really dangerous. He could German suplex you on your head. I'm scared of that dude, seriously. And he comes into the weigh-ins with that like yellow Russian wig or whatever the hell that is. Not sure what's going on there, but he's a dangerous cat and Pat Healy better be on his game. If not, he's going to be subjected to some sort of nasty TKO due to slam. But Pat Healy is a hype-train killer. He's done it to several fighters, especially in Strikeforce. And maybe he's able to hype-train kill Khabib. But I would imagine if Khabib beat Pat Healy, Khabib would get a top 10 opponent after this. Because Pat Healy is that dude that you beat and then get, you know, someone that's kind of marquee. You know what I'm saying? But Pat Healy, what does he bring to the table as far as beating these hype trains? Pat Healy can wear you down as far as his own cage and clinch game. He has good takedowns, and once he takes you down, he is nasty to get off you. You know, he's going to be able to pass your guard, maybe get your back, and then once he does, he's going to rear naked choke you or try to finish you with a TKO or do that, rinse and repeat over the course of 3 rounds. Khabib's not going to be the guy that Pat does it too. Khabib, I haven't really seen flustered as far as anyone's retaliation to his own grappling. I think Khabib, technically, as a grappler, is a little bit more polished than Pat Healy, and he's going to be hella more aggressive as far as his own takedown or sambo game, and I think you're going to see it early. So look for a sick match of throws and, you know, perhaps an early TKO from Khabib, and I'm going to say Khabib just sets a precedent in round 1 with some throws, with taking Pat's back numerous times and winning out an impressive unanimous decision. I think he wins at least 29-28. But again, Pat Healy is a hype train killer. Don't be surprised if Pat Healy goes out and does his thing. Anyway, guys, there it is. That about does it for my picks for UFC 165, Jones versus Gustafsson. Again, I cannot emphasize how much I'm really excited for this card. Especially that main card, again, for obvious reasons, with the 2 title fights at the top, and they're not whack title fights. And yeah, the rest of the main card is pretty solid. And again, I mentioned that Mike Ricci versus Myles jury matchup in the preliminary card. Still going to stay tuned for the rest of that. Again, if you guys want my complete picks, I'll leave them in the description. And tell me in the comment section below what you think of this card, what you think of my picks. And hopefully I hear back from you, because I love you all, and you guys are the reason I keep doing this, and I love this sport. So thanks for supporting once again. Deuces for all my supporters, bruises for all my haters, and take care.